Hello and welcome to my show. My name is Brianna and I am known as the Recovered Republican. Today we are going to be interviewing William Kory Amyx. So now I'm going to welcome him to the stage.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
And you prefer to go by Kory, right?
I do. Bill collectors call me William.
Okay. Well, how are you this evening?
I'm great. How are you?
I am fantastic. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me.
Oh, thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Well, let's start with the important details. Tell us your full name as it will be on the ballot and what you are running for and what counties you will be on the ballot in.
Sure. So my name is William Kory Amyx. That's how it should appear, Kory. That's William Kory Amyx. That's how it should appear on the ballot. And I'm running for Indiana's 6th congressional district. The counties right now are, there's 11 of them. So you've got Hancock County, you've got Wayne County, Randolph County, part of Bartholomew, part of Johnson, Shelby, Rush, Fayette, Henry, Union. I think I've named them all. I hope I've named them all. But that's as of right now. That could change as of next week, unfortunately. Who knows?
Right, which we will come back to
Yeah.
that later. But tell us about, what do you do as your day job?
Sure. So I work in higher education. I am a financial aid officer, and I'm also a veteran affairs advisor. I've done that for more than 20 years.
Wow.
A long time.
That is a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about your family or pets or whatever you feel comfortable sharing.
Sure. So off screen here, thankfully, my partner was bringing me a tea. So it's me and my partner, Kevin. And then we have 2 kids. Both are in college. We have Riley and Allie. I'm not going to name what colleges they're at just for their safety's sake. And then we have 4, you won't see the dogs right now, but we have 4 Siberian Huskies who are also like children. And we also have 4 cats. Those, unfortunately, you may see tonight. They love to walk across the screen as I'm sitting at my desk. So if you see me blurred out by something, it's probably one of the cats.
All right.
That's our family.
That is a full household of furry animals. But
Yeah,
I'm an animal lover.
Roomba's get a workout here.
That's so funny. Well, tell me about what made you want to run in the first place.
Sure. I'm running because too many politicians don't live in the same world as the people that they represent. I've lived real hardship, choosing between gas and groceries, between eating or feeding my own kids, facing retaliation at work, which we'll come back to that one in a little bit too. We talked a little offline about that, and being targeted for even telling the truth. So I'm running because Hoosiers deserve someone who understands the struggle, not somebody who's pretending it doesn't exist.
I agree. I think it's important for everyday people to run in politics. So let's get into some of what you believe. What do you believe about healthcare? What are your views on healthcare? Where do you think we should go? What's the next steps, or what's your end goal for healthcare maybe?
Sure. So one of the things that I've promised to all the voters for me running is that I'm going to be Kory. I'm going to be myself. And I am going to admit when I don't know something. I'm also going to admit when something's not my expertise. And healthcare is not my expertise. Full stop. Healthcare is a human right. But I'm not going to sit and pretend that I'm a doctor or a hospital CEO. That's why I've surrounded myself with professionals who are in that area. My best friend is actually a sports medicine doctor. I have several friends who are nurses and nurse practitioners that I'll lean on to help advise me on those things. If it doesn't benefit the voters, I'm not voting for it, period. And healthcare is a human right. So yes, I'm on Team Bernie when it comes to universal healthcare. I know quite a few of my friends are going to be happy to hear that I say that publicly. But it's true. I'm not going to try to reinvent the wheel. Bernie's busted his ass for years to try to get this passed. And I think it's time that we all come to the table and make it happen.
I would love to see universal health care passed before Bernie does.
Right. Me too.
I mean, it would be just a nice thing because he has worked on this for literal decades.
Like for 35 years, I think.
It's
35 or
insane.
37 years. I can't remember what it was.
Like, talk about somebody who needs to write a book. Well, he has. I need to get
Yeah,
it.
I was going to say he has. I'm
I
halfway
know
through
that
it.
he has. I just haven't gotten it yet. But I'm just like, that's got to be such a great memoir and
Yeah.
very interesting.
I'm so
Well, but
sad. I missed him when he was in Lafayette. I didn't get to go to his dinner.
I didn't know about it until after it happened. Not that I would have been available, but I was also mad. I was like, maybe I could have made it work. You don't know.
Right. Right.
But yeah, I was really happy they came because I know that wasn't Jackson part of getting them here?
I think he was. I don't
I
want to
think
speak out of turn, but I think he was part of helping to get him here.
I
I think
believe.
there were a few hands in the pot for that. Um,
Oh
but
yeah.
yeah, I'm still sad I didn't get to go.
Oh, me too. But let's talk about your ideas for the country economically. What would your economic plans look like if you win?
Sure. So my economic plan is about rebuilding a working class America. I am first and foremost right out of the gate. I think that the federal minimum wage needs to be raised. I get asked a lot, what does that number look like? And I think it needs to be tied to the area. I use the example of, here in Indiana, federally minimum wage is 7.25. But my son, when he worked at GameStop, it was his first job. They paid him $10 an hour, and he never got a raise, by the way. So boo to GameStop for that. But I still buy my video games there. But a good friend of mine's son, yeah, don't I don't want hate mail from GameStop. But pay your workers better. I'll say that.
Absolutely.
But a friend of mine from Phoenix, Arizona, her son applied for the exact same job down in Phoenix, and they were paying $21 an hour. So it shows you the cost of living there is kind of different, right? It is. It costs more to live in Phoenix than it does in, Indianapolis, Indiana.
True, but not that big of a
Not that
difference.
big of a difference, right? So I think
Especially
Indiana right now is like, just to live comfortably, the average person needs to make over 20. I think it's 23 and some change is what it needs to be. So I don't want to nail down a number. I will say that number is over $20 an hour is what I want to see the federal minimum wage raised to, and then leave it up to the states if they go above and beyond that based on where they live.
Yeah. With the federal minimum wage, would you be open to doing something that was progressive so we didn't have to keep passing all of these like incremental raises? Because, I mean, otherwise we end up seeing what we're seeing in Indiana, that the federal minimum wage and therefore Indiana's minimum wage has not been raised since for 15 years.
Yeah.
So I personally would like to see something that is going to increase the federal minimum wage maybe yearly by a percentage.
I think I would definitely be open to that. I think that sounds like a fantastic idea, actually. My technical first job was delivering newspapers to the Indianapolis Star to like the entire east side of Fayette County, Connorsville. And then my next big boy job was when I turned 15, I got a job at Bob Evans that opened in Connorsville. And waiting tables, it's been $2.13 an hour since I was 15. I'm 46 now. So there's definitely something that needs to be done. So to all of my friends and family and all the constituents who work in the service industry, I am thinking about you too, because I think it's some BS that they're still paying you the same amount I made 30 or 3 decades ago. I'm not that old, but 3 decades ago. It needs to go up.
It does. We need to in my opinion, I would rather see it go to eliminating a tip culture. I'd rather just have it
Me
all
too.
put together and people be paid a living wage than to have to rely on people to tip them who, people get tight on money or they estimate things wrong or just aren't great tippers.
I think there'll be some industries though, that still tip. And I'm going to use my own how I grew up. My mom's a beautician. She owns a beauty shop. My grandpa's a barber. He owned the barber shop right next door to my mom's beauty shop. Um, Mom paid for our Christmas. Hell, mom helped pay for our college with tips she got as a beautician. So I still
Oh yeah.
think that some things out there that you can tip, but it's not like where it's making it a livable wage, right?
It's
So
tipping for better service.
right,
It's
right.
different.
It's kind of like, you leave a tip for your hair person. You give your mailman a present. I mean, do people I do. I still give the mailman a present every year. I know that was just the way I was raised, but there are some things, those traditions that you just do. But back to my economic plan. I would like to tie corporate tax breaks to paying livable wages too, because I'm tired of seeing people work for corporate entities that they have to go work 3 jobs just to make a livable wage. It's corporate welfare, and it needs to stop. We need to no longer give these tax breaks to Walmart. And I'm just going to name them: Walmart, Target, all these big box stores, when you've got mom and pop stores that are producing the same widget, and it's local, and they're trying to support somebody else with kids who live there. I'm all about supporting small town America. And I, quite honestly, I'm done with supporting the big box stores. That's my entire campaign will be to support small businesses.
Yeah, I love that though. I've been trying to only buy small as much as possible.
Hmm.
Tell me what you believe and think should be legislated when it comes to reproductive freedoms.
Politicians don't belong in exam rooms, period. We need federal legislation that restores privacy and respects medical professionals. Just you being a recovering Republican, you may recognize this name. My former late grandfather-in-law is Otis Doc Bowen. He was the former governor of Indiana, and then he went on to become head of Health and Human Services. He passed away a few years ago. I am fairly certain he'd roll over in his grave at the stuff that RFK Jr. is doing. And I think he would be very disgusted, honestly, with what's happening. I would ban states or I would vote to ban states from pulling reproductive medical records, protect doctors and hospitals from political retaliation, and restore and strengthen the HIPAA protections. We have to ensure emergency care is protected everywhere, period. It should never be about passing the political football.
I 100% agree. Especially, I work as a speech language pathologist, so medical-ish.
Oh, cool.
So I pay attention to a lot of the medical stuff, and the emergency care is so important. That saves so many people's lives. It's necessary.
I agree.
So tell me about what you think in regards to immigration reform.
Sure. So actually, if you go to amyxforcongress.com and you click on the little hamburger icon and you go under legislation, you'll find something that I'm very proud of. I had some friends that work in immigration and some friends who are actual immigrants help me write this. It is the Unity Pathway Act. And you may start to see a theme about the legislation that I have put out there is people helping me write this. That is one thing that I have also promised to constituents is every piece of legislation, I will have the people helping me because it's their voice. I would represent them. Why wouldn't they be helping me? I'm not having lobbyists or PACs help me with this. It's going to be you, the people. But UPA, as it's being, everybody laughs and calls it UPA, the Unity Pathway Act. I support real grown-up immigration reform, not this shit, excuse my language, but not this shit that they're doing right now. They're hunting people. My bill lays out a full solution. It's a 7-year pathway with background checks, English and civics education, community service, and restitution. It provides a fast track for dreamers, a modern farm worker program. It pumps $25 billion into a border modernization, we also get asylum. We will get asylum decisions within 60 days, period.
Oh,
And
okay.
ICE is restructured completely to focus on violent criminals and drug traffickers at the border, not families. And it is fully funded by fees, no new taxes. In fact, every immigrant will pay $1,500 per year, sliding scale down as each year goes by until year 7. The 7th year, there won't be any. If they have any children, it's $500 per child. It's done at tax time. They can even elect to have it taken out of their taxes to go towards it or pay towards it quarterly. So it is self-funded. A lot of countries are using this type of payment system, and it offsets it to where there is literally no new taxes that are charged. The taxpayers do not pay for this. And when there was, before Trump went through and started deporting people, there were 14 million, more than 14 million immigrants, illegal immigrants in the United States awaiting to become immigrants, right?
Mhm.
So if you take that amount of money for each of them and allow them all to come in and go under this program, grandfather it would generate more money than what it would need to fund this program. So it would create 2 domestic and foreign fund divisions that would then go on to help send out funds locally to local food pantries, helping with homeless shelters, but also foreign aid. Looking at part of this division, it looks at where these people are coming from. Are they coming from Colombia? Are they coming from Uzbekistan? Are they coming from Jamaica? Are they coming from war-torn countries? What's happening there? And we're not just going to give money to help. Yes, we need to help fund. Children are starving in Gaza right now, right? But why? What can we do to help educate or make that area better? And this division will focus solely on that. There will be metrics that they must report back to Congress.
I love that
Pretty
idea.
cool, huh?
That is a very good idea.
It's different.
It's a different idea, but I like it. It's refreshing, and we need refreshing right
And
now.
there may be some of this Kory, that won't work. Well, let's talk through. I'm not above talking through what doesn't work. This UPA, the Unity Pathway Act, has actually evolved since March when we started talking about it, April. And even constituencies, they're like, that might not work, but what about this idea? And so it's kind of, we've added to it. So I encourage people who think that may not work, give me your idea. The old saying is, you can bitch about something all you want, but you better come to me with some ideas. Otherwise, just sit there.
Yeah, no, I like that you're encouraging people to get involved. I think it also encourages just civic engagement in general if they feel like they have a real voice in it.
And I don't care what party. I want to make sure everybody knows that. I'm not above talking to Republicans. I will talk to Republicans. If you have some common sense ideas, talk to me. But I'm not going to talk to somebody that thinks brown people don't belong here or gay people don't belong here. My moral values do not shift.
Yeah, it's like we have to agree on some of the moralities of things here.
Correct.
Speaking of gay individuals, what do you believe needs to be done to help protect LGBTQIA plus rights?
So Legitibitiqua, as we've become to know, I love Legitibitiqua Premium. That's my favorite thing lately. I was like, hell yeah, I've got to use that in my next
great.
Legitibitiqua Premium.
I love that.
It's a thing. As a gay man, hey, look, I'll take it.
Love it.
It's non-negotiable. We need an updated Equality Act, period. We need protection for healthcare access, real hate crime enforcement. And I mean real hate crime enforcement. And we need federal guardrails against extremist legislation. And I know we're going to talk about that one a little bit here in a little bit too. But freedom doesn't need freedom for some. It means freedom for everyone.
Good. So talking about some of your legislation, let's
Mhm.
talk about FERA. It's the Fair Expression and Employment Rights Act. What gave you this idea and why do we need this?
Sure. So, really, I have two personal examples that I can give you. One would be when I was a former whistleblower. I uncovered some stuff that we're going to be talking about here shortly online with social media and propaganda as a service, and manipulation on social media. And I became a target. And the individuals that were involved in this group were targeting my job. They found out where I worked. They were calling, emailing my boss, creating all kinds of coordinated stories with each other, to the point that I had to go to court to stop them. Like, it was pretty scary. One was a wanted felon for grand larceny. And yeah, it got pretty scary. I won. I came out ahead, and they learned real quick to leave me alone. It's probably not a good idea to target a whistleblower. But when they were coming after me at work, had my boss not known what the independent research that I was doing, I would have lost my job. They would have believed it. It was that good. Now, fast forward, my second example is we saw it after Charlie Kirk died, after the unfortunate shooting, and full stop. Political violence has no place on it. Like, it should not be happening. Period. And that was even my standpoint after that unfortunate event happened. Um, but they didn't like how I said it. They didn't like what I said, and they began to target me to the point where the FBI had to get involved. Like, I had death threats coming in form of emails, text messages, voicemails. So Indiana State Police and the FBI got involved. It's still being investigated. There were some folks who were stupid enough not to mask their phone number or emails. So those were the low hanging fruit that they were, I'm sure, easy to go after first. But you saw all these teachers and all of these professionals who they weren't condoning violence. They were actually not condoning political violence, but they were still going after them because of what they said. And some were losing jobs. Look at Ball State professors, two of them there. And you've got Todd Rokita, this this jackass who has literally created a website to go after people for freedom of speech. You know, I'm not saying people who are condoning violence or promoting it. Period. That's wrong, and it shouldn't be happening. And people should not be allowed to do that. Period. But the people who are coming out and saying, you know, that it's wrong, and he created his own environment. You know, two things can exist at the same time. Two things can be true. And I don't want to start that whole hate wave all over again. But that is the reality of things. There are people losing their jobs for having their honest to God free speech. And with Todd Rokita, what really pisses me off is you have the freedom of speech from the government. There should not be any government involvement in coming after you for what you're saying. And he created a damn website for it. And that ultimately was the linchpin for me, or, you know, the nail that sealed the coffin that got me to write FERA. And that protects people. Ultimately, it will go under workers' rights, and it will protect workers from being fired or punished for lawful political speech. I mean, I lived it firsthand. FERA would protect political expression, ban retaliatory firings, create a federal complaint process, and enforce penalties on employers who abuse that power. This protects Republicans, Democrats, and independents equally.
It's needed. There are so many people who have lost their jobs for just saying their opinion.
Yep.
So let's talk a little bit about another one of your bills. It's the DIAA, the Digital Integrity and Algorithmic Accountability Act. What does this bill do?
We'll call it DIA.
DIA.
We'll go ahead and set that up for now for the listeners. DIA, because, you know, Digital Integrity and Algorithmic Accountability Act is quite the long You'll figure out why we're going to call it Dia here in a few minutes. But this one is definitely personal. We're going back to when I was a whistleblower and the independent research that I was doing. And something that just happened today. You guys can go to my TikTok page right now, and you'll see that I posted an article, an image of an article from The Guardian, and they just exposed what I've been warning about for years. AI-driven propaganda, fake accounts, bot farms, and billions of views designed to manipulate Americans. I investigated operations like this for 5 years, for almost 5 years, actually. The group that I will publicly just refer to them as the Syndicate. They used fake personas, emotional manipulation, AI content, harassment, and coordinated propaganda. I tracked it, documented it, and then I blew the whistle on it. And Dia shuts that down by forcing platforms to audit and reveal algorithmic manipulation. It requires labeling of AI-generated political content. It bans anonymous bot application or amplification. And it creates a federal digital manipulation watchdog. And it holds platforms accountable for failing to remove, propaganda as a service networks. And if Dia existed today, half of these viral AI propaganda accounts would not even exist. And the example I'm using, The Guardian exposed that there were 354 TikTok accounts that got 4.5 billion, that's with a B, billion, 4.5 billion views over the course of a month, all promoting anti-immigration propaganda. Tell me that's not done on purpose. I'll go a step further. Tell me on Twitter, because I refuse to call it X, Elon didn't get rid of the Election Integrity Council for nothing. There's nobody out there policing it. You can call community notes what it is. It's just a glorified shit show of people that apply to self-monitor, and that doesn't work. And unfortunately, Zuckerberg was kind of coaxed into using the same type of security council. Dia, and then the next one we talk about, the Real Identity Integrity Act, or RIA. It never gets old. Dia and RIA. Listeners, you guys can put it together. Because it's, I went through a lot of bullshit as I was doing this research. But the Real Identity Integrity Act, they work hand in hand together. RIA goes after the root problem, which is the fake accounts. It requires secure third-party digital ID verification. So I want you to think about your authenticator apps, right? When you go to create an account, it's going to use those authenticator apps to authenticate that you're a real human being. It stops people. It doesn't mean you can't have a burner account, right? You can still have a burner, but it's now known it's you. You may be called Scooby-Doo on this burner account, right? But it's still under your authenticator app, so it's tied to it. It stops these massive bot farms from being created. And I could show you right now what a bot farm looks like if I could share my screen. Maybe we may do this. Maybe we'll do another interview another time on that. But it's crazy that these computers will just go through every nanosecond and create these accounts. And on Twitter, they look like voluptuous women for their profile photos. They're now using AI, and they've got a beach background as the photo. And they'll just sit there for years. I mean, there are some, those are called farm accounts, and they'll just sit there collecting followers for decades. They'll never post anything, which then brings up the question, how are these platforms, when part of their own security states that they won't allow an account to exist that's been dormant for 6 months? These accounts haven't posted for years, but they're still active on the platforms. Tell me that these platforms don't know that this is happening.
Well, they know.
They know, sure. It's the next. I use the example of, everybody knows, I think most people know who Ross Ulbricht is. He was he kind of created the Amazon of drug dealer accounts, and he was known as the Dread Pirate Roberts. That was his persona online. from the movie
Princess Bride.
The Princess Bride, because it can be the Dread Pirate Roberts is multiple different people.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's the whole persona, his whole drug persona for this the Silk Road is what the platform was called on the web for. I mean, you could put hits out on people. You could buy drugs on this website. That's why he was put in prison for years. And yes, Donald Trump pardoned him. But
what a great guy.
Yeah, right. That's the whole the syndicate kind of used that same Dread Pirate Roberts, and they would all operate specific accounts so that way that nobody could say, "Oh yeah, that was me." No, it was multiple of them. So it was plausible deniability.
So do you think that you're going to get pushback? Because originally when I was reading it, I was thinking you would get pushback from influencers, but I don't think that's it. I think you're going to get pushback from the government because I don't believe that some of this isn't lobbyist driven.
Oh, 1,000% it's lobbyists. I can tell you some of the people that were part of the syndicate, and I'm not going to name names or anything. I found lobbyists attached to them for the Republican side. I'll just say that. Whether they were involved or not, maybe it was a coincidence, allegedly, supposedly bullshit. But I think I will get pushback from certain. I mean, we know there are MAGA content creators out there. I'm not going to name who they are, but I think all of us can think of a few. I think I will get pushback from content creators because specifically the ones that buy likes, that buy shares, that buy followers, that are fabricating their entire existence. Yeah, I think I'll get pushback from that, and I imagine I will probably get death threats from that too. So I'm prepared for that.
Which is so interesting because as somebody who does influencing, when you first start, everybody gets like a free one or like a really cheap one that you can do, but it doesn't ever perform the way that you expect it to. So I did it that one time and I was done because I was like, this is dumb.
So I had a fake account that as part of the research, I bought influence. So I bought followers just to see what that does. I bought likes, I bought shares, and then I bought, and on Twitter specifically, I bought listeners for space calls, right? And I wanted to see how each one performed. And there were some advantages, the space call listeners, at one point in time, it depended on how the algorithm was working. It would promote you up and more people would see you and then join in. The reposts or retweets, whatever the hell they're called now. There was some traction with those, but then after they promoted themselves as organic. So what they were saying is we have real people operating. They're using sock puppet accounts, which is a human operating a fake account. It's not a bot. And so a human can operate hundreds of accounts. And so they're in there doing that for a month. And then when that contract dies, it's done. So now if you've bought these followers, they're just dead followers. They do nothing unless you buy their service again. So it's kind of, I mean, it's definitely like a pyramid scheme with the buying influence. I don't see it beneficial unless you continue doing it. I think the only people it's beneficial for are the people that are at the top of the pyramid.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. And I'm sure there are different services because what I'm talking about is like was TikTok, I guess. But let's talk about the housing crisis a little bit.
Sure.
What do you think the main problem is? How do we fix it?
The housing crisis is so broken. I mean, housing costs are up over 100% since 1990, and wages damn sure haven't even come close to staying up with that. How do I think we fix it? I think it could be done in a few ways. Tax credits for building affordable units, penalties for hedge funds that are buying up entire neighborhoods, like where I live here in McCordsville. These are amazing, lovely houses, and there are hedge funds buying them up left and right, and then they sell them off to these property management companies, and then you get these really nice neighborhoods that half of them become rentals, and they just keep jacking the rent up. Where I live now, they've raised the rent $800 in 6 months, or in 6 years. 6 years. Um,
Well, still,
yeah,
that's a lot.
$800 over 6 years. It's ridiculous. I think we need to have more first time home buyer support. My partner and I are actually, that's what we weren't going to stay where I'm living right now. My lease is up in February and we still may not, we may move. But the whole process of buying a home has become almost impossible. I mean, I'm 46 years old. I did have a home before this. And it was a hell of a lot easier to buy that house back in the early 2000s before the housing crash of 2008. But I think zoning and supply reform is something that we need to focus on, and the corporate tax incentives to livable wages, of course, is going to be the biggest one. Um, Something I do strongly feel very, or I feel very strongly about is seniors should not be paying property taxes after retirement. I think that it's something that's got to be fledged out a little bit. Um, Congress just can't magically wave their fairy wands and say no more state property taxes. They can't do that, right? It's unconstitutional. But we can create a federal tax credit that reimburses seniors for 100% of their property taxes on their primary residence. Because then you're going to get into, the rich bastards who's got 2 and 3 homes. Sorry. In fact, the people who have 2 and 3 homes, I hope to see that their property taxes are doubled or tripled. Don't ask me how that would happen. That's up to the states, but I would love to see states do that to people who own 2 and 3 homes. Because, us working class people don't own 2 and 3 homes. Let me get that out there right now, because I know they're going to run with, Kory Amyx wants to raise property taxes on the rich bastards who have 2 and 3 homes, not the working class. But again, we can create that federal tax credit that reimburses seniors 100% for the property taxes that they paid on their primary homes. They pay it locally. The IRS gives it back. It's simple. It's constitutional. And it's life-changing for seniors. I've talked to at least a dozen seniors between Delaware County, Hancock County, Rush, Fayette County. I know 2 women that they lost their husbands in we'll just say the last decade. They lost their husbands. They lived in these houses more than 30 years, one more than 60. And they have to sell their home because they can no longer afford the property taxes. It about broke my heart. Mm-hmm. That shouldn't be happening. Seniors should not be losing their damn homes because of taxes. They help build the country that we're in.
It happens so often here, especially to widows. Like, I am a widow. I lost my first husband to COVID.
Sorry.
Thank you. But because of that experience, I learned a lot about what was going on. And one of the things that is happening is a lot of the times they will lose their husband's or half of their husband's pension. And then they can't keep up with everything, essentially. And I mean, it would change so many seniors' lives, and it would probably prevent a lot of seniors from becoming homeless.
Well, I think I just talked to a constituent in Fayette County about the disabled. There's so many things, like they can't get married without the affecting their disability checks and affecting if they're getting any food stamps. That then affects that. Like, we need to look at those things too.
It affects their insurance as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's not okay. I've known people who have divorced because they became disabled, because otherwise they would not be able to afford the care.
Yeah. I talked to one lady who's disabled that the amount that what she got in disability went up $100, and then her SNAP benefits went down by $150. I'm like, so wait, you're losing money in this deal. And it's a very common thing. And it's sometimes even more money than that.
Yeah. Well, do you know the term benefit cliff?
Yes.
Yes. So
I do now. I didn't before running. I didn't, but I do now. And it's,
I've been talking to a lot of candidates about the benefit cliffs, especially that exists with Medicaid, because it is a big problem. The way that it is currently set up, it is set up to keep people on it and keep people poor. And that's not what it's supposed to do. So we need to make it progressive so people can work their way off of it
I
instead of
agree.
having a benefit cliff.
Mhm.
So let's talk about, well, you already said this. You already said that you wanted minimum wage to be raised. You don't know the level. You already covered it. So let's talk about what's going on in Indiana a little bit. Redistricting. It has been a big topic. It is going to continue to be a topic. The vote passed the committees, the train's leaving the station.
Yep.
When you look at that map, it looks like you are not going to be in the 6th district if they pass that map.
Yeah, no, I will be in because I live in Hancock County. I will be in the 7th district. And
So what?
they conveniently cut out my hometown, Fayette County. Some could argue that they maybe because they thought that I would win that area. I would maybe agree with that.
That sounds likely. But what does that mean for your campaign? Does that mean you're switching your district?
So I've not said it publicly until now. So I will give you the exclusive, but yes, I will officially, if this map is voted into place and it's solidified, I will continue to run for Congress, and it will be for the 7th district, which brings up the current congressman for the 7th district is Andre Carson. Fantastic man. I've met him a couple times. I don't know him personally, but I've met him a couple times through the job where I work and what I do. I think it'll be a good race if Andre runs. But I'm not going to give up. This is something that I feel very strongly about, and I know I have a lot of support for. And I don't even know if Andre would run for the 7th district because he lives in Center Township, which falls into kind of the new, what is it, the new 6th or the new 9th district, depending on how you look at that map and where he might live.
Yeah, if he lives in Center Township, it's kind of a crapshoot which district you're in. From what
Right.
you look, you got to make it really big to be able to tell.
Right. Like I was earlier when we were talking about this, I was really zooming in. I'm like, what is the dividing line for where even like the new 7th district's at? And I think it's just north of the Center Township line. I think it's really into like Castleton area, the mall, and just that little area right there.
In Lawrence, it looked like to me.
Lawrence.
Yeah. It'll be an interesting, I don't know. Do you have an opinion? Do you think it's going to happen?
I would like to I would like to think that the senators who stood against this will continue to stand against Donald Trump. Um, but I don't know. This mafioso tactic of death threats and bomb threats is I mean, it's a mafia style. It's what criminals use, and it's unfortunate. I've, as we've talked about, been on the brunt end of death threats multiple times. It's scary, but it's never going to change my moral compass. Period. And I would hope that the Republican senators like Gene Lysing, Mike Crider, and all the rest of them that said no, we're not going to redistrict, that they stand to that. I love the senator. I'm going to butcher his name, that he has a daughter that's Down syndrome, stood up and said that I don't want to misquote him, but he says he hopes he can take the rest of this his time. Donald can take the rest of this time to think about why he would deserve to have a Republican majority or a super majority because of him using the R word, which is just despicable. I'd ask that senator also. That's what it took. It didn't fall back to the many, I don't want to get sued, but the many things that, that Donald Trump has been alleged to have done. But at the end of the day, I just hope that Republicans listen to their constituents, because we've been loud and clear as Hoosiers, whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, an independent, or just somebody who's frankly tired of all the BS and don't want to be part of any politics. We've all said the same thing. It's been an overwhelming majority that we don't want a redistricting. They even said it. What's his name that came up with the bill said it himself, that this is simply just to have give Republicans an unfair advantage.
It's a MAGA agenda.
Yeah, and that's ultimately what it comes to. I'm not the atypical politician. I never politics my whole life. I always said that politics is where you go to lose your soul, and I think for a lot of people, it's true.
You got to be the right type of neurospicy, I think.
Right, and I think for me, I am going to be. Well, you kind of saw my nerdy background. Let's see if I can. I don't think I can change it for everybody to see it right now. But I'm going to be the nerdy geek, the guy next door, the dad next door, that everybody, Republican, Independent, Democrat, whatever, alike, can come up and have dinner with, that you can sit down and talk to. I'm not reporting back to lobbyists. I think most of the Republican Party does. But
and too much of the Democratic
Party. Too much of the Democratic Party does. I'm not going to be one of those people. I rely on you. I rely on my neighbors, even down to the grassroots funding. Please, if anybody can donate, you can go to amyxforcongress.com and click the donate button, because I am 100% grassroots. I don't take money from corporate PACs. I take money from people like you guys who have it. And believe me, I just put Jif peanut butter back on the grocery shelf, and I went for the Meyer brand because it was cheaper. I know money is tight for all of us. So I'm having to learn how to still ask for donations. It's hard to ask when you don't have money yourself, right?
Oh, right. Totally. I feel so weird, but I always ask for you guys. I can ask for other people and not feel weird.
Right. Like, I look at it this way. I'm like, I've learned even $5 help. And I don't think people realize. Actually, I'm going to grab one. Give me a second here.
Oh, yeah.
I've got some really cool flyers that I was able to order for $300. Well, $5, you know, a few people to go, but they're just these neat little door hangers, and they pop out the thing on there. So, you know, a little bit goes a long way, and that's what I can tell people. And
I tell people, buy you a cup of coffee.
Yeah, hell, Starbucks coffee costs more than $5 these days.
I just bought a coffee today that costs more than $5. So,
but I think we have to instill in. I don't like using the word constituents, like our neighbors, our friends, right?
Hoosiers.
We have been so ingrained from my generation. I even think my parents, it started with my parents' generation, maybe. We don't talk about politics. We don't talk about religion at the table, right? Well, aside from religion, we're going to talk politics. And I think we need to talk politics more. We have to get out there and support people who are grassroots. And there's so many of us. There's people like myself. There's Jackson Franklin up in the 5th district. Kelly Thompson up in the 3rd district. Mary, Mary, is it Mary Ellen? Can you help me with this?
I know it's Mary Ellen something. I haven't interviewed her yet. I know Sally Busby is grassroots too.
Yes. So there's a lot of us out there that really want to. This is not our profession. You know, I've worked in higher education for over 20 years. I want to continue to work in higher education, and I want my stint in politics to be short-lived. I don't want to make a career out of being a politician. I want to get in here, actually make a livable, make a change for my kids, for your kids. And then I want to go back to my normal life of not being in the public eye. Like, I don't want to be a somebody. I just want to go back to being a nobody after this is all done. And I think we need our neighbors, we need Hoosiers to support people that don't want to make this their profession, that want to come in, make a positive change, and are beholden by you, the voter, not by some damn lobbyist or corporations.
Absolutely.
And God knows, not beholden by Donald Trump.
Absolutely. Do you think that candidates should be allowed to take corporate and PAC donations? Because some people, like Jackson, think that that should be illegal, for instance.
I would love to see it as illegal. It's unfortunately not right now. It's
Oh,
the
yeah.
environment that we're in. I'm not going to take what is it, APAC money.
Hmm.
I refuse to take APAC money. I was contacted by a small PAC that was aligned with some of the same ideas that I have. Um, I will take money from small PACs like that, the small groups that are aligned with, women's rights and gay
Mhm.
rights or
Like
health.
the Voters' Choice
Voter
Coalition
choice.
PAC.
Right. The Stonewall Pack. There's
Mhm.
those things. Yes, I will take money from those because that aligns with what I'm doing.
Yeah,
But
makes
if
sense.
Eli Lilly rolls up here and is like, "Hey, Kory, here's $1 million." Well, the answer is no. I don't want your money, and I can actually return those funds. I use Act Blue, and if I catch it before it's processed, I can click refund. I don't pay much attention. I still will send the money back, even if it's not. Send me $1 million. I don't think they're wiring it through Act Blue. I can assure you that.
No.
Um, but I don't want that money. I want to be fully funded. Now, running as it is right now for the 6th district, I'm running against the richest man in Congress who bought
Mhm.
his allegedly people can I don't want sued by him either. But I mean he dropped $7 million
Must be
to
nice.
win the seat. And I'm not going to ever compete with that. I don't think it's possible to compete with that, from a grassroots campaign side of things in Indiana. I think it's possible to get a few million. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it takes work and it takes getting out there and putting yourself on the line. I have a whole new respect for people who run for politics, especially the grassroots candidates. Whether I win or lose, I definitely have a new appreciation too for our entire political system. And I hope that people who are watching, I would encourage you to really hone in on how, most people think local politics is is dumb, that it doesn't really do anything, right? And you ignore it. And I think the midterm voting results show that. And I think we're starting to see, oh shit, it does. It
Mhm.
really does. From it starts from local and goes up to the president, because the president, aside from Trump and all of his executive orders, can't really do much else without Congress and the Senate. And then you've got your city councils and your mayor. So I hope people start to see that focusing in on your local politics is extremely important. Be smart about who you elect and
Uh,
vote. Everybody's voice counts.
Vote every time. Every time. Every primary, every general.
Yep.
It should feel weird that you didn't vote in 2025. You should be voting every year. But we are starting to run out of time. So tell everyone again where they can find your website and
Sure.
give another plug for donations.
Sure. So you can go to Amyx for Congress, AMYX for not the number, but AMYXFOR Congress.com. You'll see the donation button right there on my page if you scroll down a little bit. It'll take you there. You can do a one-time donation, or you can even do a small monthly donation. I've had influx of people that are doing $5, $10 donations every month. That adds up, guys, and it really helps. Especially during the holidays. I know I've got kids and I'm buying Christmas and buying for my partner too. So funds might be a little bit shorter, and that's okay. Maybe look at that smaller donation amount. Um, but but donate if you can.
Yeah. Every dollar counts. Even if you just have $4 that you can donate,
Mhm.
he will still appreciate it. Grassroots donations, they will take any amount. If you have $1, give him $1. Any amount counts. So go and check him out on his website and make sure that you're following him on social media. Where can they find you on social media?
So I'm on Facebook, William Kory Amyx for Congress on Facebook. On Instagram, you can find me as William Kory Amyx on Instagram. You can find me on Blue Sky as I think my Blue Sky is just Kory Amyx. Let me confirm that for you real quick. Is Kory Amyx on Blue Sky, KoryAmyx. And then you can find me on the hellscape known as Twitter. Amyx for Congress is the handle for my Twitter page. I don't use it as much because Twitter is a hellscape, and I'm
It's a
anti.
cesspool. That's
Yeah.
why I'm not on it. Well, thank you so much for coming
Thank
on
you.
tonight. I've really enjoyed getting to know you, and I wish you the best of luck with your campaign.
Thank you so much, and I'd love to come back again if you have me again.
Absolutely. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.